Look, I got a testimony. I gotta tell him what God did. I'm calling God the homie. He took me out of the mosh pit. I will contest the phony. Separate demons and God's kids. I gotta spread his word, so I'ma show you who the God is. The word is my weapon. I move like a general.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Walk With Me. I'm your host, JJ, and I thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for taking a few moments out of your day to, dedicate to study. And I really hope that this podcast does something for you. I hope you get something out of it. I know I'm getting a lot out of it just by going through it and doing it every once a week. You guys could be listening to any podcast. I think IR said there's something like 300,000 podcasts going on right now. But you took a few moments out of your day to listen to this podcast, and I'm telling you, it means a lot to me. I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for sharing. I've seen a lot of sharing going on, and I get all kinds of stats that I never have time to go through. All I care about is this reaching somebody and it helping somebody, because that's what this is about. Even if it's one person, that's what it's for. Just to take care of business, make sure you visit some of our sponsors. Some of you have sent me emails asking me about Patreon. I'm still up in the air about that. I'm still praying about it. Maybe you should help me pray about that. Should I set up a Patreon link? I know there's some sort of buy me a coffee thing attached to the podcast, but it is what it is. I haven't put any information in there on it. Exquisite Creations, she's still making cups. She made a brand new one for me, and it's for my 9-to-5 job, which I really love it. I don't have video right now, or I'd show you, but it's about as long as your forearm. This cup is huge, and it's really amazing. The craftsmanship, that's what I'm trying to say, is top notch, and she's constantly improving her work. Check her out on TikTok. So Exquisite Creations is SOXQUIZIT. So just know that's how it's spelled, QUIZIT on TikTok. And the producer of the music, the intro and the outro, is True Bars. Keep him in your prayers, by the way. Keep him in your prayers. But he's still working with me about getting more music assigned to the podcast, and he's also a sponsor. So thank you so much for that. Now, we're going into episode 2 of Exploration. And basically, and not to sound boring, but this is going to be something that's more beginning to end. The beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible. I know we kind of lightly touched on things in dispensations in the very beginning when we first episodes of the podcast. You can always go back and listen to that. That's why this is good that it's recorded and it's archived. But these are going to go a lot more in depth to what's actually in the Bible, and they're going to be things that are going to jump out at us and how to use them today. Use these things today, because the Bible is not just a book that's written a long time ago for them a long time ago. It's about something for us today. We left off in the creation at the end of the third day. Okay, and I know there is one. I'm sorry, before I get started on that, there is one question that I've got. I got into the email box, and there's another sidebar. Thanks for reminding me, God. If you have any biblical questions, comments, concerns, you can email me at walkwithmebiblestudy@gmail.com. Sorry the name is so long, but that's just the name that was available. So it's walkwithmebiblestudy@gmail.com. And again, like most of the time every other time when I answer questions, I'm going to answer them anonymously as the way they are written. I'm not going to say your name or anything like that, but I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But this question basically said, why don't I condemn certain things? Certain things that are going around today. First of all, I don't want this to end up being a political podcast. There will be other podcasts for that, and I might possibly start another podcast for that. It just depends on how much time and if God kind of leads me in that direction. But here's the thing, I don't care really what it is. Please understand, it is not my job as a Christian to condemn something. I'll say that again. It's not my job to condemn a person. Let's put it that way. To condemn a person for something that they are doing. Because that was the question. Why are you not condemning these people? It's not my job to condemn these people. That's part of judging that we don't want to get involved in. Because, and the problem is that people tend to judge sins harshly that they are not involved in. So, in other words, people who are not thieves generally want to judge thieves harshly. People who do not lie generally want to judge liars harshly. People who don't cheat generally want to judge cheaters harshly. And I don't know if that's generally a kind of a holier than thou type of attitude, but it happens. So as such, we should not be condemning a person for the sin that they did. It is still okay to talk or to, I don't want to use the word preach, but it's okay, and it's our job to point out when people are doing the wrong thing. Hey, Johnny, you should not be stealing. Stealing is bad. You will go to hell for stealing, and you're not repenting of it. In that way. Same thing with lying or whatever sin it is, homosexuality, whatever that sin is, you will have to separate that sin from that person, because God separated that sin from you when He decided that He was going to forgive you, which is whenever you repent and want to turn away from said sin. No one's better or worse than the other. The Bible says there's no big sin and no little sin, except blasphemy. And blasphemy is kind of that road of no return. That's one of those sins that you kind of know that you're doing when you do it. So, that being said, I didn't want to spend too much time on that. I may come back and revisit it with some scripture, but I just wanted to get into what we are doing today. But I did not want to let that question just hang out there for you. No. The thing that's wrong is wrong. The person doing the wrong can still be saved as long as we turn away from it, because none of us are perfect. We are all working towards being saved. And it goes, and if you have a problem with that, I laid that out in detail, why I don't use the word saved in past tense a couple episodes ago. I will revisit that, I'm sure, as we go through the Bible. So, lay off of condemning people for what they're doing. Condemn the sin if you need to. Condemn the sin if God is leading you to. But you can still love the people. Okay? Alright, now that that's out of the way, we can move on. We are on the 4th day of creation. Alright, so we're still in Genesis. Genesis Genesis 1:14 through 19. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven. Divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. Wait, stop. Right there. Full stop. Remember how we were talking in the last episode, we were talking about the first day, the second day, and the third day. But we were trying to distinguish how are these days when these chapter 1, 14 through 19 hadn't happened yet. Because we're talking about God's days versus our days. And only in chapter 14 is he actually laying out our measurement of time. Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. We use the sun. One revolution around the sun is a year. We use stars to kind of map our progress throughout the year. We use the sun in the morning and the sun during the day and the moon at night. That's when this started. It's in the fourth day. Fourth day. And God made two great lights. Verse 16. The greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. So, just in case you didn't get verse 14, it came back and explained it again in verse 16. And God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. So, now we know where heaven is, what we now call space, to give light upon the earth, because we see them from the earth. And verse 18, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. Now wait a second. How are you using the stars and the sun and the moon to divide light from darkness? Now, this might suggest, and I'm not sure, I'm not sure if a lot of people will agree with this, but this may suggest that where we are down here is dark compared to what's going on in heaven. It may divide the light from the darkness. All of these lights are dividing the light from the darkness. Okay? Verse 18. To rule over the day and over the night, to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. It was good that we can't look up and see heaven. It was good that we can see the heavens, what we call the heavens, space, but we can't see past the firmament. That is heaven. That somewhere out there, there's a firmament, and above that firmament is actual heaven. That's what the Bible says. Now, I don't know how far out it is, how many millions of light years away that is, or up, down, sideways, however you want to put it. But the Bible talks about it being there. And none of this actually disputes anything that we are learning right now in science. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Now, only now do we have the earth with form. We have the sun, the moon, and the stars. And now we have actual man-made days. Well, not man-made days, man-accounted days. We could look at a day and say the sun has come up, the sun has gone down, and the sun has come up again. One full day. This is where our days begin to be counted. This is how we begin to keep track of time. And on the fifth day, God's fifth day, as in how many days God has worked on this planet, not how many days God has existed. On God's fifth day of working on this planet, God said in Genesis 1:20, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that have life, and the fowl that may fly upon the earth, and in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, and after their kind, and after every winged fowl after their kind. God saw it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let the fowls multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. We're still counting in this account of our creation. We're still counting them on God days. Now, how long is a God day? I don't know. The Bible says, 1,000 years is a day, and a day is 1,000 years. So I don't know. But we're talking about a God who's simultaneously omnipresent. So he's kind of working outside of time, outside of our perception of time. Let's be clear. But this is a day according to God. So when you feel as if God hasn't heard your prayer yet, that your deliverance hasn't come yet, you got to understand God is working on a completely different time scale. And your prayer has probably already been answered. It's just on its way to you. And this is kind of illustrated in Daniel chapter 10. And we'll get there, but I don't want to start chasing rabbits right now. We just want to stay right here in the first book, the first chapter of Genesis. But we're still talking about God days. The sixth day, and God said, Let the earth bring forth a living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things. This is when God started putting the support systems in. What the support systems for what? You'll find out. And the beasts of earth after his kind, and it was so. And verse 25, God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. God said, it was good. And then, that same God day, God said, I'm going to make man in our image. Let's make man in our own image. And after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the sea, the fish of the sea, and the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, over all the creepy things. And so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Now wait, stop right there. Now just a minute ago, God said, let us. And you keep reading, God said, God created he him. Now, I don't want to be facetious here, but this he, him is not some weird usage of pronouns here. God created man, but he created man, singular. So, JJ, who was God talking to? In the book of JJ, I say, he was just kind of musing out loud the same way we talk to a friend. We just kind of talk to ourselves sometimes when we get to do something. You know what? Let me get up and make something. You know what? Let me go ahead and record this episode today of the podcast. You know what? Maybe you should get this done. But then you're the one that do it, because no one else can do it beside you. In that vein. But right after that, God said he created man. And God blessed them. Verse 28. Oh yeah, he created he, him, male and female. And God blessed them and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. And to you it shall be for me, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, to everything that is creeping on the earth, where is in life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And I would argue, based on what we just talked about, this was pretty much the first day that man knew he existed. But I don't want to go off in those weeds. But please understand that you only have a cursory mention of the creation of the heaven and the earth. Now, we're going to discuss who the host is in greater detail, but for now, God doesn't give a lot of detail of what heaven is like. And it wasn't until the seventh God day, that time began to be counted, because he created man in the sixth day, and in the seventh day was when man was self-aware and he began to count the days. So the seventh day, God had finished his work. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work he had made. Now, you think God was tired? No. There was a reason why he rested on that day. Just clip that on your mind. God was not tired. It wasn't like God was out here swinging a hammer and hacksaw and, laying foundations and pouring concrete and, a backhoe. And, the seventh day, he was able to clock out and go put his feet up. That's not what this was about. This here is a metaphoric rest that we will talk about a little bit later, but it's there for a reason. God does not put anything in this Bible superfluous. It's just not just extra words thrown out there. But God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all his work God created and made. And that's when everything got started. God started using days, and nights, and seasons, and years, and months, and seasons, and he started being able to tell time, but God had already finished what he was going to do. So, man, we're already out of time. Okay, but here's the thing. We have to understand that sometimes when God speaks of things, God is speaking outside of our knowledge of things. So, when God really talks to us, and it's sort of apparent when he says things like, my thoughts are not your thoughts, and my thoughts or my ways are not your ways. As high as the heaven is from the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. In other words, we have to sometimes look at the reason why God is saying something, why God is doing something, and outside of our human perception. And this creation, the story of creation, is a perfect example of this. We've been counting days. First day, second day, third day. And in our mind, we're thinking this happened in a 24-hour period. Well, it couldn't have happened in a 24-hour period because the earth hadn't started rotating yet. The first day, the earth was out without form, so it wasn't even round. It was just some rocks floating out there that God hadn't molded yet. Water was everywhere. So it's important that we don't get tied up in a lot of back and forth between, creationism and how old the earth is and how old is this. A lot of these arguments are designed to keep our minds away from what's really going on in the Bible. It's designed to keep us arguing amongst ourselves and not focus on why God did the way things he did and how he did the things that he did. How and why. That's very important. It's very important that God rested. He was not tired. You would think somebody was building the world, they might be tired, but God wasn't tired. God is a spirit. Spirits don't get tired. And God didn't even really need help with the angels. He was just being conversational with them. And he probably used to speak to angels all the time. They used to come around and sing to him, and he would say stuff to them. Like, you know what? Maybe we should go down and build something over there. That little spot right there. I think I should put an earth right there. And then there we have it. So don't allow, and I think that's the purpose of this going from beginning to end. We're gonna kind of root out some stuff along the way that is very important. That can be very distracting as far as our walk with God, and rooting out the truth as to what the Bible really says. Now, does it matter how many years or how long a God day is? Not really, unless you want to talk about some of the prophetic things that some people say, that the earth is 6,000 years old, at 7,000 years when the rapture is going to happen. We could talk about that. But the rapture's coming. I don't know when. It's not for us to know. Jesus said it's not for us to know. Maybe that's why we can't really figure it out, because we don't know how long a God day is. Ooh. But I have reached the end of the podcast. Oh my gosh. Well, talking about this stuff is just, you think we sit down and go a half an hour and all of a sudden, bang, it's over. But I thank you so much for listening. Keep those questions coming. Please, don't let me put you off from asking questions. And please don't take it away if I answer a question that may seem a little harsh to you. I just don't want any misunderstandings or things like that. But yes, if you have biblical questions, go ahead and answer, and I will make sure I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll email you back. I need some time to study it out or something like that. If I do, if something simple, I can just answer during the course of the podcast. I will. Otherwise, we will be having question and QA sessions only in the podcast. This has been your host, JJ, and this has been Walk With Me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and you'll have a blessed day.
Yeah. True. See, I do it for Jesus. Everything I've been do, give me a reason. I got to spread all the words of a genius. Everybody needs to know who the leader. See, I do it for Jesus. Everything I've been do, give me a reason.